threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
How many times y'all been asked, you ready for Christmas?
You and your family ready for Christmas?
I think I heard it like 6 times today.
I heard that several times. I'm like, I don't know. I think my wife's got it figured out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
she gave gifts about everybody, wrapped all the presents.
I figure if there's a problem, she'd bring it up if we had a problem. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Last minute.
I'll have to ask her if we're ready.
I don't know. I'll send her a text real quick. Hold on.
But seriously, it's
but
y'all ready?
This is our last episode before Christmas.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to call this the Christmas episode.
Yep. It is, basically.
But we're not talking about Christmas.
No.
We're
going to talk about supervolcanoes.
About the same thing.
The supervolcano.
It's like the mother of all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's some bad ones, but this one, this is a really bad one.
And it's also just pretty close to home.
Yeah, it is.
So,
I think it's the only one that matters to us the most.
Yeah, I don't care about them ones over in the Philippines or whatever.
I know.
The Ring of Fire. But yeah, no, we're going to talk about the supervolcano today from Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
It's a big one.
The Kevin Costner. Volcano.
It's ready to blow. Kevin Costner's like, this is my land.
This is my land.
Have you watched any of that?
I saw like one episode or 2 episodes. I haven't really watched. I need to get to it. I love Kevin Costner.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. Just never watched it.
Never got to.
Heard it's a little rough.
You like it rough, don't you?
Not enough, apparently.
Not enough.
But yeah, we're going to talk about volcanoes.
Yeah, we're
That's
excited.
A good Christmas special.
So we are going to talk before that about our friends at BattleBox.
We should.
It is the monthly subscription box for men, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you normally pay. You never know what's in the next box. But here's a sampling. My wife's going to be so mad at me, of what users received this month. I can already hear her yelling at me. Love you, babe. We got the HD. I was trying to hold it in. You guys are so
You might as well say the F word because that's way
it's
less.
worse than that. The HD Ratchet tie-down set.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty good. The Yuko Classic Series original candle lantern. We like those. All this badassness starts at just $34.99 per month. Our listeners get a free knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Get your first BattleBox plus a free knife. When you go to trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Listener reviews starts now.
Do you do like a family gift thing?
What?
Like that you buy for each other's families and stuff like that?
We do, but we do it all. So we do a weird thing where we all get together on Christmas Eve. Well, we did it last week because our schedules, and then we all have $10. We draw names randomly, and we have to go to Walmart and buy a $10 gift.
Oh, that's a better
and then
idea.
we come back.
I was gonna say that didn't help.
No, sorry.
most like family gifts are like $35. It's like
yeah.
it's a cutoff.
I see. Yeah,
$34.99.
That's perfect.
It could get you started with BattleBox. That's a perfect gift.
I think our family must be cheap. We don't really buy for like my sister and I. We don't really buy for each other.
I wish ours would eliminate it. I thought we were going to, but
you
they were like, "Let's do it."
They do it.
There's 6 of us.
Well,
too many.
Who'd you get?
Spreads out. Second oldest brother and my oldest sister.
Oh, you got to do 2?
Yep. And Tawny's been doing a great job finding
she's
presents.
doing a
Shouldn't even
great
know
job.
them.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't. But anyway.
Listener reviews.
Yeah.
You got it?
What is this, a link?
It is a link because it was so big I couldn't get it in there.
Oh, great.
So I'm really excited for you.
Heard that one.
Who'd you hear that from?
No,
Sasquatch?
All right, I got a link. It's loading.
Okay,
man,
beautiful.
Still processing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's a strata internet.
Reviews, 5-star. May have saved my son. This is a good. That is a big one.
As I said.
I've been doing the prepping survivalist thing since 2014 and have gone through the cycles of manic prepping and lethargy. I stumbled upon the Casual Preppers podcast when it was just a couple of episodes old. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was living in Alaska, the Alaskan bush at that time, and had poor internet. So I was just barely able to download podcasts. But when I had the chance, would listen to two buddies with great cowboy impersonations who said, a few too many times and still do. I don't know how you guys kicked that habit, but it was impressive success. Really? We did kick that?
It must have been better than before. I don't know.
Or he's just completely immune to it.
Yeah, he doesn't hear it anymore.
Anyhow, during this time, I made a good first aid kit, which included an EpiPen. On Friday, I had to use it. My wife, 2 children, and I were sitting down for dinner, and we gave my 1-year-old son some shrimp. He had an anaphylactic reaction to the shrimp in which his lips, mouth, throat swelled up to a point he couldn't breathe. My wife told me to get the EpiPen, which I did immediately, which he had saved, and we gave my son an injection. I can't imagine what would have happened if we didn't have an EpiPen and had to wait on an ambulance or bring him straight to the hospital. It may have saved that little munchkin's life. I am thankful and appreciate all the great tips, medical and otherwise. Thank you for all of your hard work. Stay survived. Aaron from Anchorage. P.S. Do more cowboy voices.
Alrighty.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome, isn't it?
I did not see this one before, so.
No. Yeah, I just thought it was really cool. I know it's really long, but it's cool to hear those things where people have prepared.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing.
Because of the dumb crap we said. You know what I mean? And might have saved that little fat-lipped kid's life, you know? So we hope he's all good out there in Alaska.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Good to hear.
If you guys want to be part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, leave us a 5-star review, and make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
Yeah, let me read you an article headline. Egg prices are shattering records as bird flu continues to decimate poultry flocks. Mother flocker.
What else?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Egg prices are hitting records driven by an avian influenza outbreak that has killed tens of millions of chickens and turkeys this year across nearly all 50 states. Wholesale prices of Midwest large eggs hit a record $5.36 a dozen. That's a lot. Do you remember when it used to be like 99 cents? Or like $2
I do
or
remember
something?
that. And I was like,
It's a long time ago.
why are you even charging us for these?
I don't know. But now, like, this is just something to tell you, like, might be time to start thinking about raising some chickens.
Yeah.
Because it's getting to the point where you're probably cheaper to be raising those chickens at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's that much a dozen, that's insane.
What else is freaking getting more
That's what I'm saying.
expensive?
So
bad.
just continue to watch that, my friends.
Yeah.
If it continues to rise, we ain't going to be eating our egg sandwiches or no French toast. All right? Make me mad.
Yeah. So this is just applicable to everything nowadays.
Okay.
The earth hates us and it's trying to kill us off.
Yeah, makes
Right?
sense. Yeah.
The U.S. life expectancy is at its lowest in 25 years. Post-COVID, drug overdoses led to the second straight year of worsening life expectancy in the U.S.
Gosh, dang it.
So as per the 2021 data, Americans are expected to live 76.4 years, down from the peak of 78 years.
Oh, dang.
It also shows the U.S. continues to rank lowest among countries with large economies. Heart disease, cancers, COVID, and other things like that.
Can't imagine why our health is so bad.
I know. But, like, I wanted to just, like, bring this up because this year has been insanely difficult to treat. Like, there's COVID on top of flu, on top of RSV, on top of medication shortages. And then there's also been an outbreak of more difficult to treat super infections with bacterias and stuff like that. So
infections.
Bacterias. Yeah. So anyway, you just got to take care of yourself out there.
Yeah.
Things are not getting easier, and you need to be prepared to, get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And start preparing. Watch out.
I agree, Cameron.
Viruses are going to kill you.
You know what's even scarier than that is a big friggin' volcano.
Just
like a gigantic one.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about the Yellowstone Supervolcano, the Yellowstone Caldera, the Yellowstone
movie or TV series.
show. We're going to talk about all things Yellowstone today. Probably. We're not going to talk about the TV show at all.
We did. We mentioned it.
We already did talk about it, yeah. But I wanted to take just a few minutes beforehand. Let's talk about some recent big volcanic eruptions, like what they did, what they were like, how they affected everybody around them. Let's go back to the year 1991. I had just turned 10. All right. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I was 10 years old. But over there in the Philippines, Mount Pinatubo.
I do not remember hearing about this when I was 10 years old.
Again, I was 10. I was playing a lot of Paperboy on Nintendo. And that was probably it. I was probably playing some Super Nintendo. But it's a stratovolcano. I don't know. It's
all the way up in the stratosphere.
Yeah, I know. So June 15th, 1991, it erupted, resulting in the second largest eruption in the 20th century. It's big.
It's weird. I don't remember anything about that. But I mean, why did my parents tell me?
Again,
Son,
10 years old.
sit down and tell you
We
about
need to
something.
tell you about what just happened over at Mount Pinatubo.
It's a long way away. I don't know if I said it right.
Okay, Dad, can I go ride a four-wheeler?
Yeah.
You know, who
If you
cares?
see the clouds getting thicker, come back.
Yeah. Started getting weird and ashy outside.
Looks like it's snow in the middle of July.
Don't freak out. It's just Mount Pinatubo.
Get out of there, boy.
Now go friggin' mess with the
Now have some fun.
cows. Yeah. So this ash plume, the height reached more than 40 kilometers. In an American, that's 28 miles.
Good.
20
The conversion needs to
What's
happen.
the problem? One of these websites I used was Canadian.
A
so
lot
it's-
of this
oh my
geographical
gosh.
stuff,
So I'm
like
just
all
like-
the geological evaluations.
So
I'm like, what does that mean?
Some of it I
Meters and
I went and
kilometers.
did the conversions, but some of it I'm like, you guys are gonna have to figure it out
Yeah,
in your heads.
it's a
'cause
lot.
Too much. Too much. 40 kilometers, which is 28 miles high, ejected more
Kilometer sounds more dramatic.
than it does.
So-
It ejected more than 10 kilometers cubed of magma. That's cubed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know my math well. 10
Was it cubits?
No, it's like 10 km. That's a
Cube,
little
CU.
3. A little 3
Oh, yeah, that is cubed, yeah.
cubed, right?
I
Of
didn't see that.
magma. Classifying it as a Planian, ultra Planian eruption style. VEI 6.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the volcanic eruption index. Is that how that works? VEI
yeah.
6.
Did you say?
Yeah. VEI 6.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Really huge.
Uh-huh. A complicating factor in the dispersal of ash was at the same time of the eruption, Typhoon Yuna channeled the ash from the usual dispersal out into the ocean towards the island of Luzon.
Ah.
Oh, they're going to lose on again. This combination gave rise to wet ash. Sometimes I get wet ash when it's real hot outside. Oh, no, that's wet ash.
Excuse me, in the sweating.
Swash.
I got a wet ash.
Increasing loading on structures with a large proportion of the 847 death toll due to roof collapsing.
That's what's so crazy.
Yeah.
It can, like, thicken so fast. It's like,
Yeah, it's crazy. 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption caused widespread impacts across societal, economic, and environmental areas. Pyroclastic flows, lahars, as well as the ashfall hazard all resulted in damage and casualties. It cost up to $700 million in damage, $100 million of which was damage to 16 aircraft flying at the time of the
Holy
eruption.
crap.
Isn't that crazy? $100 million. So they were just flying and sucked in a bunch of ash and said, "Ah, Mayday, Mayday, we're coming down." So also $250 million to property, with the rest
ash strike.
ash in our holes. Nearly every
Man, that would have been a scene, though. There's like,
I know,
I want
dude.
to take some pictures of that. No, we're going to crash.
We're gonna crash. Nearly every bridge within 19 miles of Mount Pinatubo was destroyed.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Every bridge. Yeah, I don't
They
know.
didn't prepare for that very
No.
well.
Several lowland towns were flooded or partially buried in mud. So that was the Mount Pinatubo. Pinatubo, am I saying
And
that right?
that was what was it, a 6?
VEI 6.
I know that wasn't Mount St. Helen. Looks like it was a 5 in comparison. I think it's been like probably the most documented for
Oh, yeah.
in our time.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Go over all the little what effect it has. So
But let's go back to the year 1815. And this is Mount Tambora. And I think we've spoken about
I think so, too.
Mount Tambora before because of the insane effects it had around the world. Mount Tambora is a volcano on the island of Sumbawa in present-day Indonesia, then part of the Dutch East Indies. And its 1815 eruption was the most powerful volcanic eruption in recorded human history. This is the big granddaddy of them all. This volcanic explosivity index, VEI, that's what it was, volcanic explosivity index,
explosivity.
7. It was 7. It ejected 160 to 213 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere and was the most recent confirmed VEI 7 eruption.
Jeez.
So we talked about that VEI. That did it only go up to 7 or 8 or something like that?
8's the max, I think.
It is 8. Okay, yeah. It's like it didn't go to 10. It's like,
Yeah,
well, what are you
I think
thinking?
that's the max, and I know, and I'll talk about it, but
Okay.
VEI 8 and above, or no, VEI 8 is, if it's ever had that in its history, it becomes a super volcano.
Okay. that
So
makes sense.
I don't know how this isn't classified as a
Yeah.
super.
So although the Mount
Pretty
Tambor,
big, but it ain't a super.
the Mount Tambor eruption reached a violent climax on 10th of April, 1815. Increased steaming and small phreatic eruptions occurred during the next 6 months to 3 years. The ash from the eruption column dispersed around the world and lowered global temperatures in an event sometimes known as the year without a summer. And this was in 1816.
I've
so
read a
it's-
couple like history books that talk about like the effects, like
Oh man,
the history in the U.S. They're just
Yeah.
talking about it, and they mention this summer of being like
it did a lot of
raped
weird
crops
stuff.
and everything.
We're going to talk about a few of those things, but I think last time when we talked about this, we talked about like the weird like religious implications it had because
Yeah.
people were so freaked out. They didn't know what was
It's like
happening.
this is the end of the world.
This is the end of the world, right?
Changing everything.
So this brief period of significant climate change triggered extreme weather and harvest failures in many areas around the world. Several climate forces coincided and interacted in a systematic manner which has not been observed after any other large volcanic eruption since the early Stone Age. All vegetation on the island was destroyed. All of it. Nothing lived. Uprooted trees mixed with pumice ash washed into the sea and formed rafts up to 3 miles across.
Oh my god!
So just 3 miles of ash and trees. And they made like these big like floating islands. They're like rafts, basically.
That's insane.
The eruption column reached the stratosphere at an altitude of more than 43 kilometers, which is 141,000 feet. That's freaking in space. That's space, right? The coarser ash particles settled out 1 to 2 weeks after the eruption, but the finer ash particles stayed in the atmosphere for a few months to a few years at altitudes of 10 to 30 kilometers. Longitudinal winds spread these fine particles around the globe, creating optical phenomena. Prolonged and brilliantly colored sunsets and twilights were seen frequently in London between the 28th of June and the 2nd of July of 1815, and 3rd of September and 7th of October in 1815. So the glow of the twilight sky typically appeared orange or red near the horizon and purple or pink above it.
Weird.
So that was like one of the reasons that
They're like, oh, we're all dead.
Jesus is coming back. It's
Yeah.
all, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So the eruption caused what we call a volcanic winter. During the northern hemisphere, summer of 1816, global temperatures cooled by 0.95 degrees Fahrenheit. So basically an entire degree,
Seems so little, but
but a lot.
man, it messes things up.
Yeah. This very significant cooling directly or indirectly caused 90,000 deaths. It's a lot of people. In the spring and summer of 1815, a persistent dry fog was observed in the northeastern United States. The fog reddened and dimmed the sunlight such that sunspots were visible to the naked eye.
Weird.
But this is like, yeah, the moon turns to blood.
Yeah.
The sun, you know what I mean? Ooh, creepy. Neither wind nor rainfall dispersed the fog. It was identified as a stratospheric sulfate aerosol veil, in case you were wondering.
My wife has that for her hair.
Yeah, she uses that on Wednesdays. Yeah, she likes it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great.
Holds real well.
Oh, for sure. Top of the line. In summer of 1816, countries in the northern hemisphere suffered extreme weather conditions, dubbed again Year Without a Summer. Such conditions occurred for at least 3 months and ruined most of the agricultural crops in North America. And it's not good, if you were wondering. It's just not good at all. In Cape May, New Jersey, frost was reported 5 nights in a row in late June, causing extensive crop damage. Late June, frost for 5 nights in a row. It's insane. And then in July and August, lake and river ice was observed as far south as northwestern Pennsylvania.
God, that's insane.
In August, there was river ice. According to the historian L.D. Stilwell, Vermont alone experienced a decrease in population between 10,000 and 15,000, erasing 7 years of population growth.
Screw this place.
I know, it's like, this place is
Yeah,
horrible.
frost.
Yeah. Among those who left Vermont were the family of Joseph Smith, who moved from Norwich, Vermont, though he was born in Sharon, Vermont, to Palmyra, New York. This move precipitated the series of events that culminated in the publication of the Book of Mormon and the founding of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Pretty crazy that this volcano pretty much helped start a religion.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Also, on June of 1816, incessant rainfall during that wet summer forced Mary Shelley to stay inside for long periods of time. At this point, she wrote Frankenstein.
So crazy. Like
There's
some good that come from volcanoes.
Exactly. We might get some really great horror stories in religions. Sometimes they're one and the same. You just never know. This huge volcanic eruption caused an insane amount of issues, obviously, and the Yellowstone caldera, as we will find out, would be much, much worse.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, this was the worst one ever, but
boy, oh boy.
wait a minute.
You're gonna love this section.
Yeah. If you like that, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Hold up.
So, obviously, we all are should be familiar with Yellowstone. It's got some thin old crust. It's got
Buffalo.
some geysers.
They got buffalo, they got
It's
wolves.
weird, warm, and steamy.
Yeah.
But that's because the whole freaking place, which you don't realize when you're there, because it's, just looks like a flat plateau. Like you're like, wow. But you were in a huge caldera. You're in a massive, like, volcanic mouth, which is pretty creepy to think of. It's so scary. But what makes a volcano classified as super? And there's not very many in the world. There's only 7 total that are classified as supervolcanoes.
Oh, okay.
And this is because of their past volcanic eruptions that have been at a magnitude 8 on the explosivity.
DEI.
8.
Scale
Yeah.
8.
So at any point in their history, if they've exploded and it's met an 8 level, then it's classified super. So
Dang.
that's why there's not very many of them. Not many can hit that point. So, which means that at least 1,000 cubic kilometers or 240 cubic miles of material gets ejected. That's an insane amount.
A lot.
So you can see like why there's that caldera, because it just blew all of that out, and it's just massive. Like it makes me think of like a whole different planet, like Venus and stuff, where it's like you can't live there because there's volcanoes going. Like Earth does that once in a while.
Yeah, it does.
And so that's enough to bury Texas 5 feet deep.
Oh, they lived through it. Oh, Texans.
Yeah,
They've been through worse.
yeah, their flag will poke right up above all.
Hell
of it.
yeah, Texas forever.
Yep. So, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. I was going to say other stuff, but I'm done.
Yeah. So these super eruptions are thousands of times more powerful than even the biggest eruptions we're used to. In comparison, Mount St. Helens ejected more than 0.67 cubic
Oh my
miles,
gosh.
2.7 kilometers.
Ooh, that's like nothing.
nothing. So I've watched like on I can't remember, but watched a series on Mount St. Helens, and it's like super fascinating to see, like, I think it was like recorded as the biggest mudslide in history because it like melted all that snow and it all like rushed. But it's a massive amount of earth being moved and like what it looked like and the devastation. And that was like teeny tiny compared to what the Yellowstone supervolcano could do. So it's had 3 eruptions in its history. 2.1 million years ago, roughly.
It's a long time.
1.3 million years ago, and the most recent was 664,000 years ago. That's like yesterday.
Jeez.
The last of those at Yellowstone Lava Creek ejected so much material from below that it left a 35-mile by 50-mile depression in the ground, and that's the caldera that you go in. And
gosh.
so it's like it just moved half the earth.
Oh.
So if it were to erupt again, obviously that would be super devastating.
Perfect
pretty much
place to have a national
pretty much
park.
end of the world type of thing.
National park right there.
I know.
It's like, if it
Come
ever...
visit what will kill the whole earth.
This will kill all of us one
Yeah.
day.
So this is 10 times the amount of Timbora.
Wow.
That is crazy. And that killed 100,000-ish?
Well,
Or was that one, or what was the one the last one you said?
The
In
last-
1815?
yeah, that was Tambora.
That was, right?
Yeah.
So
Really,
yeah.
it was like 90,000 with
So
the cumulative.
10,000 times that?
Yeah.
That's a couple thousand people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So the expected size of eruption today, they estimate a new eruption could spout out 588 cubic miles of debris. So
jeez,
they're just going all out on this.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to blow the whole earth up. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, we wanted to bring it up because it's part of like the prepper community of like world-ending scenarios. Like a supervolcano eruption would be one of those things because the few that would survive the blast, I mean, there'd be a lot that would survive, but it would just disrupt everything on Earth.
The United States would be pretty
much covered.
Pretty much covered in ash.
Yeah. And you'll talk a little more about that specifically. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about the Yellowstone supervolcano being overdue for eruption.
Yeah.
And scientists believe that's like a little silly. So the real smart guys, the Geological Society and stuff, they're like, no, it's really not good to say. Don't say that, piss it off. But overdue isn't necessarily, it's kind of not realistic. They don't know. It's unpredictable.
Sensationalism.
Exactly.
Well, I'll talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. So scientists estimate Yellowstone's volcano explodes every 600 to 700,000 years. And so, we just talked about 644,000 years ago, there was an eruption. So a lot of people are like, all these geysers are starting to go off. And here's one comment from somebody, like a little bit like you were saying, says sensationalize. Some people who visit there say that there are more hot springs popping up there. There's more sulfur smell that's stronger than ever. You take from it what you want. And I just pay attention to it a little more than the average person, just in case, says Jason Charles, a firefighter from New York.
New York City. What is he doing?
I don't know. I don't want it to be a curveball we don't see coming. I keep it in the back of my head.
I've been thinking about that super volcano, just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this?
How about the Yankees? How about that super volcano, huh?
Yeah, I know they got that lefty coming off the bench, but have you thought about the super volcano out there in Yellowstone?
James, get out of here.
God damn, James.
You bring
get
it
out.
up every time.
We're trying to talk baseball. Bring up the Mets. I don't care. But stop talking about
I'm
this.
just saying you guys aren't ready for a curveball. I am.
Give me some pork rinds.
Let's go down and get a pie downtown.
I'm going to go down to the deli, get one of those beef sandwiches.
So this has happened forever, and it's no indicator of a pending volcanic eruption. These changes, these geysers, the increased sulfur smell.
Just the guy, I just don't get it. He's like, that sulfur smell's getting stronger.
Man, it burns my nose.
I was there when I was 14. I don't remember this. I'm 48 now.
I know. I'm like, how do you detect it? Just a bit more sulfur than...
Yeah, that's more sulfury than it was before.
I know you guys are liking the view, but do you realize that sulfur smells about 2 or 3 times stronger than last year?
Yeah. I see the bison. I see them, but smell that. Okay?
But I'll have to admit, I got sucked in when they were saying like one geyser that doesn't go off very often. It's been going off like routinely.
For
and
sure,
you're just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I'll try and explain it. Probably won't do very well, but
okay.
So the activity around Yellowstone's monitored, obviously.
Sure.
They monitor it all the time. They watch the magma levels in the caldera. It rises and falls all the time. And even the other super volcanoes around the world, like they grow and then they fall. And it's based on like the magma pressures and levels. And so listen to another podcast. It was actually National Geographic. They talked about how magma is kind of like soda pop. It has a bunch of gas in it. It's hot. And like the bubbles, and when that increases and it releases, it kind of swells.
It's like
and
a
then
burp?
it goes back down. Exactly.
It's like a burp.
Earth has got some gas problems.
Yeah. It's going to come out one end or the other.
So yeah, when it pushes
Yeah.
that magma up a little closer, and basically the geysers and stuff are all active because of that and the thinner crust. But what happens is that magma just goes out into different. It basically
seeps through the cracks.
seeps through, and then it
else.
just dries out, or not dries out. It goes solid. So this happens all the time. And so seismic activity, kind of like an MRI of the ground, shows that 5 to 15% is molten rock. Not enough to create a massive explosion. They say it has to be much higher than that. So they're watching out for us, okay?
Yeah, that's great.
So it's not necessarily overdue.
Yeah, I
It's
actually
just-
saw that they have like a monthly report. There's like a
they
there's
monitor a
scientist.
ton.
There's a scientist that's just assigned to the Yellowstone caldera. Basically, he's a volcanist or something. I don't know what they call him.
I don't know. That's cool, though.
But like every month he does a video like updating what's happening at Yellowstone.
So yeah, they're not just like Hope it doesn't go off. Like, they study it. They know the
It's not like a park ranger like selling you tickets. It's just keeping an eye on it for us. It's an actual scientist.
Watch this with the heel of his boot and magma starts coming up. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's worth the price of the ticket, ain't it?
Burn my boat.
Don't worry, Yellowstone pay for it.
You guys there's a lot of magma down there. It's like soda pop. Anyone want a soda pop?
Yeah, have a Pepsi.
Yeah, there goes it.
Yeah.
But the geyser activity increases is totally natural, and it's been going on for hundreds of years.
Don't worry, that's natural.
Well, that's lava. No, it isn't. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence that Yellowstone might erupt soon? No. Yellowstone is behaving as it has for the past 140 years. It hasn't changed. They actually, like I was saying, the ground uplifts and steam and explosions and everything's been going on forever. 10,000 years or so.
It's a lot like having a wife.
Yeah. It just gives off a little steam.
Oh, yeah. It's going to come up. It's going to come down. There's going to be explosions, liquid magma.
Yeah. It's exactly what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of people that talk about, one is drilling into and using that all the heat and thermal energy that's there to like power cities and things like that. And other theories have been like, why don't we just drill down there, cool it down, then we're not going to have an explosion. That's a great idea.
Turn the hose on, drop the hose in the hole.
That's exactly what
You know?
like, all this water,
Yeah.
just pump it in there.
Get her in there. When that geyser goes off, just redirect it down in the ground.
I don't know why you guys haven't thought of this.
What are you guys doing? Just selling tickets all day?
Yeah.
Come on.
You don't want it to go. You don't want it to cool down. But so yeah, they've proposed doing that of like cooling down, but there's risks with that. Obviously, it can destroy the park. Like
destroy the world.
You're gonna have all these pump stations and
sure.
drilling down in there, but also they don't know. It's like if you drill down into there and you disrupt the magma and hit a pocket, boom. And you're just going to explode the whole place up.
that's worst case scenario, probably.
Yeah, so you could strike a gas pocket.
Yeah.
We all know
Yeah.
you don't want to hit a gas pocket.
You don't.
So attempts at cooling and depressurizing magma systems would have many unintended negative consequences.
I could see
consequences,
like some
including
new
making an
companies.
eruption more likely. So
Some companies. I'm a volcano driller, a pressure releaser
yeah, so
on LinkedIn.
I'm a pressure releaser.
I'll release your pressure if you need it.
Been doing it for years.
Doing it since I was a teenager.
Release my pressure all the time.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Additionally, Yellowstone National Park is protected from geothermal resource development. Don't go in there and ruin it. So it's been protected by law. So harvesting the energy, though, has been researched a bunch, and they talked about like pumping water through lines that pass through. So you're just like continuously getting this warm water, and it would decrease the the footprint of power stations and coal and all that stuff. But there's risks. Get in there and disturb that gas bubble. You know what's going to happen.
You don't.
So, anyways, it is a massive volcano, and it has active lava inside, but it fluctuates. It goes up and down. It hasn't changed over the last 140 years. The geysers going off is not unusual. So, pretty unlikely to erupt, but let's say it does. Let's talk about that.
Well, actually, I want to talk first. Like, how likely is it to erupt?
Yeah.
So, like Cam was saying, it's possible, but scientists, they're not convinced that there's actually ever going to be another catastrophic eruption.
Yeah, maybe never.
There may be never. I mean, there's going to be some eruptions, but like this catastrophic big boy that we're talking about, we don't know. Given Yellowstone's past history, the yearly probability of another caldera-forming eruption can be approximated as 1 in 730,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
0.00014%. So yes, that is something that could happen. But
there's a lot of other things that are much more likely.
Yeah, this number is based simply on averaging the two intervals between the three major past eruptions at Yellowstone. is hardly enough to make a critical judgment. It's like
There's one important right in
it's
there.
like the
Yeah.
thing we were talking about. The probability is roughly similar to that of a large.
Let me put on my volcanic goggles.
Yeah, I'm a volcanist. The probability is roughly similar to that of a large 1 kilometer asteroid hitting the Earth, which has happened before. So
Sure has.
I don't know.
I had to buy a meteorite for Christmas because my son wanted one.
Did you get it on eBay?
I ended up going to a legit site.
Meteorite.com.
Yep, basically.
Meteorite.gov.
Yep. Yeah, it came straight out of Boise.
Yeah, it did. Probably just magma from
I think
Yellowstone.
it's just slag from somebody welding.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, let's gather all these up and sell them to the kids.
Welders up in North Dakota just have this side business of selling meteorites out of their.
Knock that
shop.
slag off. We'll send it out.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Put it in the grinder for 2 minutes. Just put it in a bag.
Shine it up.
Put a number on it, like some random number.
Yeah.
Number 677.
Yeah,
600BF21.
that's how we name our meteorites.
Yeah, that's a bit one.
How about is there also a threat from terrorists?
Yeah, that's a good.
So I did
So
find.
just shoot a nuke right into the caldera.
That is possible. So there was actually some terrorists that were arrested who actually
That's
talked about
insane.
this.
I didn't know
They
that.
talked about this.
I don't remember.
A man accused of plotting to derail a Canadian passenger train. So
does the Canadian train even come down into Yellowstone?
I don't know. Well, it's not the same thing.
No,
So
it isn't?
He was
Okay.
accused of plotting to derail a Canadian passenger train. Also thought about triggering a catastrophic volcanic blast in the United States. So
That's plan B.
he had two options. I'm either gonna trigger the biggest supervolcano in human history, or I'm just gonna derail this train in Canada. He had two options.
I think I can do that one easier.
Which one's gonna be harder? I don't know. How much you got in savings, Daryl? I got like $89.
I calculated that I can't get that volcano to erupt. So
Yeah, the
I'm gonna
numbers
be-
just don't work. I can't get the numbers to work. You know?
Oh man,
Keep trying.
such a different extreme.
I know.
I'm gonna rob my local bank and grocery store,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna go steal nukes from Iran and strike Russia.
Yeah. So testifying for a third week, an undercover FBI agent said Chiheb Isagyar pondered the possibility of getting the volcano in Yellowstone National Park to erupt. Isagyar, who is charged with various terror-related
It's a very good cigar.
offenses, along with co-accused Ray DeJesser, spoke of the death and destruction of blast could cause, the court heard. Ultimately, however, he decided the idea was not feasible. He's like, no, we cannot do anything to make the volcano erupt. It's very deep. I don't have any access. That was his direct quote. I don't have any access.
This guy.
Yeah, volcano access ain't easy to get.
I've been doing baking soda and vinegar at home all day. I can't figure out how to get it out of the bottom.
The numbers don't work. I told you. I told you it doesn't work.
But I don't
Let's
want
just go get the damn train and derail it. It's not hard.
That's easier.
That's
The
way
math makes sense.
Yeah, ain't no physicist, volcanicist. I don't know. You know, it says it was his conclusion that we need to focus on the project or projects. The train plot was better than the volcano.
Much
He
better.
said, yeah, it was much better.
Much easier.
So, anyways, he didn't actually say how he was planning to get this done.
Obviously.
Like he just didn't give any details, but it was just.
I'm going to do it.
I
Don't push me.
wrote it's in my notebook.
Don't push me. Journal entries June 20,
Yeah.
1990, and yesterday.
Today was a great day. I saw Granny at the store, so I helped her take her groceries home. Also, I had a thought. What about making
When
the
I was
volcano
putting
go?
the baking soda up
Yeah.
in the...
The baking soda fell. The vinegar was spilled all over the countertop. Boom. Right in my kitchen.
What if I did this to the United States?
Yeah, what happens if that scenario was bigger in Wyoming?
I want to be part of that.
Yeah, you got a big
I was
dream.
pissed.
Big dreams.
Got a parking ticket that day. I was mad. I'm going to end this country.
So, I found a site. So, I want to talk about what it would be like if it actually did go off. The Big Daddy Grand.
That's what we all want to know.
That's what we do on them. We're
That's
getting
what we're
to
here
it.
for.
40 minutes in this podcast, we're getting to it, okay? So I found a website that actually shows it shows the different zones
That
as
one's
it
cool.
comes out, right? But this one was Canadian. Okay, it might have been this guy.
So the colors were red and white, and red and white, and it's
Yeah.
in an oak leaf.
Yeah, it was basically a hockey stick.
Maple leaf.
Hockey sticks that went around, hockey pucks. And there was gravy all over the top of it. But it's all in metric and whatnot, so these...
They don't make no sense.
They don't make no sense. So zone 1, so the first zone right around this bad boy, it's up to 80 kilometers in circumference, or however that works, right? 50 miles for the Americans out there listening. So within this 50-mile radius, the estimated ash fall is 3 meters. That's 10 feet of ash.
Jeez.
That's a big ash fall, man.
Yeah.
So within that, the nice thing is within that 50 miles, there's only 70,000 people that live there. And I say only 70,000.
What about the bison?
But there's a lot of bison and some elk.
Wolves.
So there's 70,000 people that basically are going to die right away. Just like you're dead. You can't do anything about it. You work at Yellowstone, you're dead at Yellowstone when this thing happens. So surges of scorching hot gas and ash over 400 centigrade, exceeding the speed of sound, would spill from the side of the volcano and could extend up to 100 kilometers out. It is not survivable.
No.
So you're in zone 1, you're dead right off. So let's move out to zone 2. So this is 80 to 125 kilometers out. So the estimated ashfall here is 1.5 meters. Your population within this range is 350,000 people. So zone 2 would have to be evacuated completely prior to the eruption. The very heavy ashfall would collapse all structures. Nothing would be left. Vegetation.
Still even in zone 2.
Yep, vegetation, livestock, and aquatic life would all die. Nothing would live within this 125 kilometers out. Power and telephone lines would break, and roads would become completely unusable.
Yeah.
So,
have you seen pictures of like Mount St. Helens before and after?
Yeah,
like it's all nice and like really green, and then
it's like disgusting.
Still, even to this day, it looks like right next to us, Roosevelt,
Fort Duchesne. Is what it looks like. Yeah. So now let's go to zone 3, Cameron. This is 125 to 200 kilometers away from the actual explosion. There's 640,000 people who live in this one. So we're getting up there. I mean, luckily this thing is in Wyoming. And like nobody lives in Wyoming. That's the only good thing about this. This is the exact same thing about zone 2. So you would have to evacuate beforehand. Very, very heavy ashfall would collapse all structures.
That's a long ways. So you've got to travel. Like, if you're at the park that day,
you're done. You're not going
to make it.
So you're going to have a meter of ash within that 200 kilometers. Insane. Everybody's going to die. All vegetation, all livestock, everything. Now we're going to get into zone 4. This zone is where Cam and I live. We live in this zone, Cam.
The most important zone.
This is the zone we all need to be worried about. I know you guys are worried. So your estimated ashfall in this zone is 60 centimeters, which is 24 inches.
Jeez.
2
don't even
feet
get that
of
much snow.
ash. I know. So this is out 200 to 300 kilometers, and there's 11 million people who live
so far
within
from Yellowstone.
It's a long
crazy
way.
That's going to
300 kilometers. Yeah. So zone 4 would still see substantial amounts of ashfall, obviously. Any areas with more than 30 centimeters. Oh, I got pop up here. Jeez Louise.
Do you want to visit Yellowstone? Tickets on sale.
Good gracious, I can't get it. Won't go away. What the crap? Really
Extends.
weird. It's got like it's really like, oh, there it goes. Jeez. Finally got it to go away. So any areas of more than 30 centimeters of ash are under severe risk. The primary cause of death would be from roofs collapsing due to heavy ash load. Potentially 1 in 3 people would be killed this way.
Yeah.
33% of all people
just getting crushed by the ash.
Crushed by the roofs caving in on you.
That's so crazy.
Breathing outside would be very difficult. The water would be contaminated with sulfuric acid.
That's fine.
Yeah, sounds great. The ash would enter air filtration systems, causing air quality problems in structures still standing. There would likely be no power and very limited transportation, if any, at all. So
going to work would be tough, and you still have to. Wouldn't be canceled.
No, it definitely wouldn't cancel work. So basically, it's like a total apocalyptic situation. Just even for us, this far away.
It's crazy.
That's a crazy thing. And then we can go into zone 5. So this is 300 to 800 kilometers out. You're going to see 15 centimeters of ashfall. 34 million people live within this zone. Wow. Zone 5 are still at risk of collapse if the roofs are not immediately cleared of ash. Trees would be severely damaged due to the breaking of branches. Road transport would be halted due to the buildup of ash on roads, and cars would stop working as air filters become clogged. Rail transport and electricity may be cut as wet ash short circuits signaling systems and substations.
That is a mess.
Yeah, so then the last zone is zone 6, and this is beyond 800 kilometers. And this is pretty much the entire United States up into Canada, kind of even down into Mexico. You're going to get 1 to 6 centimeters. So there's 190 million people that live within this zone. Minor damage to buildings in zone 6 will occur as ash enters soils, interiors, and blocks air conditioning filters. Electricity may be cut as wet ash causes shorting at substations. This would cause water supplies to be cut. Roads would need to be cleared to prevent ash from blocking stormwater systems. Crop damage is possible. Livestock may be affected by lack of feed and contamination of water supplies. Damage to electrical equipment and machinery is likely.
Egg prices
going
through the roof.
Go up. So basically, literally, it's almost a complete apocalyptic situation for the entire North America.
Yeah.
Really, it pretty much is.
It is, yeah.
That's how crazy this is. So let's talk about some of these after effects. These things are going to happen sort of in the short to long term after this. So the magma ash ejected debris would be hurled 30 miles into the atmosphere. That's a long ways. Near devastation of an area the size of North America or Europe. Probable economic collapse. I mean, if you think about it, how does the economy keep going?
There's no way.
With that. It's going to collapse. Volcanic ash would cover the devastated areas to depths ranging from hundreds of feet, which I don't understand that, but to as much as 6 inches, thousands of miles away. Anything within 500 miles of the eruption would be completely destroyed. We talked about that. Ash would circle the globe on upper-level winds, blotting sunlight for months, followed
That's the big problem.
by a dim and cold volcanic winter lasting for several years. So this is like the year without a summer, but probably
so when you're celebrating in a different country, like United States is gone.
Yeah.
It's
coming to get you.
Screw you over too.
Expect earthquakes, flash floods, and even wildfires, obviously, because it's ash and it's hot and, magma and lava and
That's
whatnot.
tough stuff to deal with.
Global temperature would drop perhaps as much as 20 degrees
Oh my gosh.
Fahrenheit. 20, that's a new ice age, basically, right? Mini ice age, that's the next thing it says there. 75% of all plant species in the entire world would die. The entire world. World agriculture.
Corn would be fine.
Yeah, corn. We'll keep
Make
rolling
it
that
right
sucker.
on through.
Got our ethanol still. World agriculture would be devastated. Farmland would be basically ruined for an entire generation. Satellite and radio communications would be affected as the atmosphere is occluded with fine particulate. Even landlines would degrade or fail above ground or not. Mass starvation, obviously because of all these issues with farmland and crops and plant life dying off. And you can't keep cows alive if you have nothing to feed them, right? Human survival and civilization as we know it would be threatened. FEMA estimates the volcano would do $3 trillion worth of damage just in the United States. And I'm guessing it's more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, $3 trillion's nothing these days. You know what I mean? So anyways, pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And it's like, it's basically a reset of humanity.
It is.
If there's any long-term survival, if they don't
It's-
just all die off.
I think it's similar to the asteroidal impact that took out the
Exactly.
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's kind
They
of
would
the
just
same thing.
clean everything off and whatever few were left.
Yeah. Those guys can restart.
Yeah. It'd be a slow extinction.
Yep.
Crazy. Speaking of extinction, how about your identity?
Oh.
You want that to be extinct?
No, not really.
Be out there for everybody to see?
Yeah.
It can be. So anytime you go on that intranets, you're susceptible to somebody stealing your information. Computers are sitting there idle. You never know who's out there looking to get into your life.
You
so
really don't.
you can protect yourself. You can get a Surfshark VPN, and it can protect you and all your devices, not just one or two or three. Any of them that go on internet can typically be protected by using a Surfshark VPN. I use one. I use mine on my browser So there's an app specifically on PC, Mac, or your Apple phone or Android phone that you just click and connect. But you can even just have it in your browser. And so
that's cool.
it's really nice. You just click it, or it'll even tell you a banner shows up that this site's susceptible to security risks and stuff like that. So it's super nice to have. Even if you don't even have it activated, you can see, oh, this is a riskier site. I thought it was because I'm buying stuff I shouldn't.
Yeah, they're getting a meteorite on the black web.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark web.
But it's super nice to have that protection for all of your online information.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, the nice thing about Surfshark is one subscription will cover all your devices that you use to go online. You can even use it for your entertainment. I used it to watch the World Cup because for
what
some
a World
reason
Cup it was.
Yeah, it was a very good ending.
Yeah.
But it's nice because I wanted the British announcers. I had Peacock, Spanish. I don't speak Spanish.
Nah.
So I wanted the British announcers. I connected to London, and then I just got on BBC, and I could watch their programming, which is super freaking cool.
It's awesome.
If you want to try it out, you can do so for 30 days, money back if you don't like it. You go to surfshark.deal/casualpreppers. You can get 83% off from 24 months, plus you get an additional 3 months.
Yeah.
27 months for less than $60. You will not beat it.
I can make the numbers work there.
I'm telling you, this is an amazing thing to give yourself and your families.
Yeah.
It keeps you safe.
I like it.
And especially right now when you're traveling and you're going onto public Wi-Fi, you got to have this. Somebody's going to take stuff and you're going to hate it. You're going to say, I wish I'd listened to Casual Preppers. So anyways, surfshark.deal/casualpreppers. Try it out 30 days, $60. I'm telling you, it's worth it. The end. Okay, so you've had this massive, you've been scared about the volcano.
You have. We're all scared now.
We're all kind of creeped out. We're like, man, if this blows, what can I do? How can I protect myself beforehand, before this thing erupts?
And so, obviously, this is going to be sort of universal for all volcanic eruptions as well.
And we've gone over this. It was episode 55, is that what I said?
I have no idea.
We talked about volcanoes in general. It's pretty good. It's pretty good details from that. I mean, you're probably gonna get most of them here, but let's talk about some preparations that you can do beforehand for these volcanic eruptions. So if you live if you're really close, like you got to have this amazing exit plan.
You're gonna have to have like a crazy
you're just not
bunker.
going to get out of there.
Yeah.
But if you're in these like further away, you're in Canada, Mexico, or Zone 4 and beyond.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in Zone 13 in Russia.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some effect. So these are some ways that you can prepare. Number one, as always, you got to have an evacuation plan. Get as far away from it, instead of dealing with 10 feet of ash, maybe you can get somewhere that you only have to deal with 2 centimeters.
Exactly.
And that's going to be a big deal because that ash is like, for example, if you took glass and ground it up into powder and just spread it everywhere. Like that's how like dangerous that stuff is.
Jeez.
It just shreds your insides.
Yeah.
And so
you want to
get away.
Breathe enough of it in, it basically turns to like cement in your lungs.
It's freaking nasty.
It's crazy.
You wouldn't think like because we're familiar with like smoke and ash and wood ash, like that stuff's nothing compared to this volcanic ash. And it's super heavy. So you're planning on staying put. You've got to have supplies in place to like clean off your roofs. You got to be able to prepare your vehicles to not be able to breathe to get you out of the area. And so there's a little more preparation with this. It also goes along really well with nuclear fallout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're trying to stay away from all of that crap and all the fallout. And this is really not much different. Like you want to keep the ash as far away from you, out of your vehicles, out of your home. So your planning's got to involve a lot of like plastic protection. And basically, if you're going to stay put in an area that is going to get a lot of ash, you want to be able to isolate those rooms and keep the ash out of your house. You need a really good filtration system in place. You also need to have plenty of masks. Not for COVID. We know no one needs to wear those.
Nope.
But for if you're going to go out, travel somewhere, you're going to be wearing masks forever after this.
Probably for like a year.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at.
It takes so long. So things to kind of isolate and keep ash from seeping into your shelter. And then also, you need to have extensive ways to get on the roof and clear it off to avoid collapse and things like that. It's pretty interesting if you go and look up like Mount St. Helens and the things that people experienced. That's where I saw, like the vehicles all shut down. They couldn't breathe. And like these different filtration devices that they were putting on their cars to actually be able to travel.
Like those
'Cause
ones
they gotta
that
breathe
had
too.
like the snorkels, and they would put a filter like on the snorkel.
Yeah, they had to keep cleaning it off, but
Yep.
your car's got to breathe.
It does.
So if you have an escape plan, you've got to have a plan to like be able to keep that vehicle running and breathing and changing out the filters and stuff like that. And that applies to your shelter as well. Other items that you really need to consider, what Kobe was talking about, like long term, you're going to have mass extinction of animals. You're going to have crop failure. You're going to have problems with supply and delivery. So just like we've always talked about, you got to have a really good food supply, water supply. And the other thing is like, maybe you live next to a lake. That's all going to be contaminated now. So you've got to have, specific filtration systems. And probably the most important thing is having readily available water that's not going to be contaminated. Plastic bags and tape galore. You're going to be taping off a lot of stuff. Other unique items like I was talking about is like simple masks. Even N95s can block out a lot of the volcanic ash, but an N95 or better. Goggles, gloves, clothing, a radio. Getting all choked up about the radio.
Oh, ham radio.
The radio to keep posted on situation if there's probably still some available radio stations going. I mean, not everybody's going to be killed off immediately. Flashlights. You're going to be in the dark for a long time.
It's going to be way dark.
Yeah, that's what's creepy is like, if you read like historical events, it's like they couldn't even see like their hand in front of their face. It's so blacked out and dusty. That to me is terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't want to live in that.
No, thank you.
I'd rather to die. Power is going to be interrupted. You're not going to have power. And that's another thing is like, okay, well, I'll just start my generator. Generator's going to get plugged up. Unless you want to put it inside and die. And get carbon monoxide poisoning. So it's just a very complicated situation. So you got to have a lot of specific things. And like I was saying, this applies a lot to a nuclear fallout too. So if you're kind of getting those supplies ready for a volcanic eruption and nuclear, like you're going to be pretty set to live for a little while. Anyway, I don't know how long. But like I was saying, like the volcanic ash is super toxic to you. It contaminates things. You got high sulfur content that's going to turn things to acid. Then not to mention the rain. It's just going to kill more things. And so it's like basically if you can have a bunker that keeps you away from the ash, it's not going to collapse is the best way. But that's pretty unrealistic for most.
Insane water systems and insane air filter systems.
And that's the thing. You still got to bring air down in and that filter's going to plug up. And so super complicated situation, but just like all the other planning that we've had, most of the things that we do for all these other scenarios are gonna help
crossover.
But you're gonna want to develop that plan to kind of protect yourself from the ash with like sheeting and visqueen and bags and stuff like that. So the other thing is you really got to have a good setup communication system because you're not going to be going anywhere. So a lot of times you're just going to be communicating, staying out of that crap, and coordinating plans with family and groups and stuff like that. So very good, very detailed communication plan. And then, so it sounds like a horrible, horrible thing to live through.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I don't plan on, it's not one I worry about because if it erupts, like we're toast.
There's not much you can do.
There's not. There's a few things. And I don't mean this just for like the super volcanoes. This applies to any, like if you live in one of those areas, if you live in Hawaii, next to a lot of volcanic activity, like having these things in place.
They're actually erupting. There's one erupting right now.
CDC and Red Cross and all those, they have plans for, and FEMA, they have specific plans for volcanic eruptions. So check them out. They're worthwhile.
And so what if you do live through this and then after this eruption you survive? What are the procedures that you should be working on, like as it's erupting as well as like afterwards, right? So listen to the alert status updates.
I'm going to start an ash clearing out business.
You should.
I have it all ready to go. Yeah. When that happens,
business cards.
Call me.
Yeah. I'll get your ash moving, right?
Cam Hardy, PhD in volcanology.
Exactly. They have alert status from the VNS, which is the Volcanic Notification System.
Oh.
So you can go to usgs.gov, and it's going to provide you up-to-the-minute info across multiple channels. You should be listening at all times for important updates so you can plan or act
That
accordingly.
was an empty shoe touching
Was that what it was? Okay. Playing footsies with me under there.
Keep talking about volcanoes.
Magma.
I'm going to erupt.
Yeah. I'll show you super volcano. Follow evacuation orders. You know what I mean? If they tell you to evacuate, don't be like, oh, I'm gonna stick it out right here.
Yeah.
No, just go. Bro.
Mount St. Helens, there were several that
Yeah.
are like, I'm holding out. They're buried now under like 600 feet of
Yeah,
earth.
they are now part of the mountain.
Right.
Okay? Don't take a light. If a volcano goes big, it's far too late to react. Your only hope is to be far enough away that you can survive. So watch.
I think there's going to be quite a
these.
bit of warning.
Yeah,
I would think.
there should be.
I would think.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
Be sure that you don't travel downwind or downstream of the volcano. The ash and other debris will be guided by the wind. Waterways may be converted by the eruption into a lahar. And we talked about that earlier with one of the other volcanoes. Basically, it's a nightmare mixture of lava, mud, and rock that acts like a boiling mudslide.
Dante's pink.
Pink. Dante's pink.
I love it. Dante's pink.
It's my favorite movie about the volcanoes. Dante's pink. Or is it red? What is it? I don't know.
Dante's gray pink. Anyways, Dante's Peak had a really that's like one of the coolest scenes, I think.
Yeah.
When they're trying to cross that bridge and all of it's like pushing it all down.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It's bad. So those are really, really dangerous. So don't be like, I'm going to go downwind, downriver. Like, that's the wrong, you want to go
I want to stay
upwind.
closer to the river.
Yeah. Go the other way, okay? So if your primary threat is ash, shelter in place. Shut down and close ventilation openings, seal windows, doors, cracks, and crevices, just like Cam said.
It's not like that smoke that you can just like,
No.
I know, put your shirt over your mouth. And
Bandana's going to do it.
Exactly.
It's not going to do it.
It's nasty.
Replace disposable furnace filters or clean permanent furnace filters frequently. You're going to have to do it like all the time. So it's probably good to have additional ones on hand because you can't be blowing that stuff through your house.
Yeah.
It's not going to be great. You're going to be covered in ash.
You want to hire a handyman.
Yeah, handyman.
You want him on call.
A volcanicist.
Here's my card.
Here's my card.
If you get a lot of ash, you give me a
Yeah.
call. I got a
Call
plan.
my ash. I'll come over there.
Call my ash.
What would the name of your business be?
I don't know. There'd have to be something like
Something
that.
with ash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big ash movers or something.
Yeah, that it'd have to be something cool like that. I can't think right now.
Yeah, this is one disaster where like a gas mask actually makes really good sense. You know, get a modern quality model with supplemental filters, know how to use it, and keep your facial hair very short. You don't want to have to shave in the middle of a volcano just to put on your gas mask. Hold on, babe.
I'm all right.
I'm going to make it.
It's
Shave.
electrical. It doesn't need it.
And it just starts, not good.
That is very important.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
First things first.
First things first.
Volcano just erupted. Shave.
Start shaving. Once that first emergency alert comes on, start shaving. Your whole body. You want to be hairless like a seal.
Yep.
Okay? Not like seal, like a seal. Seal probably has some
He's
hair.
probably got a
He's
little
pretty
hair.
hairless, though.
He does seem pretty hairless,
Yeah.
huh?
He does seem pretty hairless. You never thought we'd talk about seal and his hair in this episode, did you?
Yep.
Never thought. Never thought.
We take all the angles.
Yeah. Do not drive or operate motors when ash is falling. Okay? Heavy
I think
ash.
that's on four-wheelers.
No.
No more than one rider. Don't operate during a volcanic
Volcano,
eruption.
Yeah. Heavy ash fall will choke, stall, and seriously damage an engine when it's drawn in through the intakes.
Yeah. Try
Keeping-
bugging out with that.
Good luck, bruh. So aftermath procedures. Reach out to family and friends using text messaging, phone systems.
You got ash over there?
What your ash look like? Send me a picture of your ash, girl.
How much ash you guys get? We got about 2 feet.
Here's a picture of my ash.
Sending over a few pictures of my ash right now.
Yeah, baby. That's some hot ash right there.
Got some weird pictures of ash.
My wife's name's Ash.
I know that's like, wait a minute.
So is my sister. So phone systems will be degraded or down in the aftermath of the eruption. Save phone calls for emergencies only. Yeah, so if you're just like talking about
Don't be
whatever,
tempted to send that extra text.
Yeah.
Keep the phone
But I'm
lines
just saying
open.
text messaging is a much higher chance
Oh,
of
yeah.
transmitting
The phone calls.
successfully, you know.
Doing okay, 6 feet of ash today.
I'm
What
gonna
do you
rhyme.
say?
It's time to rhyme. Anytime I get scared, I just start rhyming. You know?
It keeps the mood like really.
That's a great tip, I think.
That is a good tip.
Anytime an emergency happens, just rhyme everything you can.
Hurry, honey, leave the house, or else you'll die out in the. I don't know.
With the grouse.
Yeah, with the grouse. I ruined that one. Sorry, honey. Just get out of there.
Yeah, just get out of there. Take care to remove ash buildup from roofs. It's obviously super heavy, and it's heavier than it looks, and it's like having snow. When you get 10
That
feet of
blows
snow,
my mind that it
Yeah.
can be that heavy. You'd think it'd be super light.
try and sweep or push it off the roof if you can. Take extra care when walking over it, as it makes things like super slick. It's just like snow, pretty much.
Muddy, gooey.
Muddy, gooey snow. If your drinking water has ash in it, use another source of drinking water.
Yeah.
Such as purchase bottled water until your water can be tested. Volcanic eruptions may result in floods, landslides, mudslides, power outages, and wildfires. So, good luck. You got to get ready for all those.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like, stay away from that ash. But then down the road, it's really good for your skin.
Yeah.
And it'll help cure different ailments.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mix it with lye. You
too
can make
much
soap.
bad.
I think.
Little's great.
Yeah.
You can grow all kinds of stuff in that volcanic soil. Anyway, so
Hot peppers.
yeah, delicious.
Delicious.
Other super volcanoes, and which are the most risky?
Okay.
So we talked about Yellowstone, which would it's not the only one in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually 2 others that are classified as super volcanoes.
Really?
Why did we pick this country? It's living on an explosive bunch of
Land.
magma, bunch of soda pop underneath that
Liquid
crust.
hot magma.
So, Long Valley, California, May of 1980, a strong earthquake swarm that included 4 Richter magnitude 6 earthquakes struck the southern margin of the Long Valley caldera.
Wow.
It was associated with the 10-inch dome-shaped uplift of the caldera
We
floor.
got a 10-inch dome-shaped uplift.
The declining volcanic activity and increasingly crystalline lava extruded over the last 650,000 years, as well as other trends, suggest that the magma reservoir under this caldera, has now largely crystallized and is unlikely to produce a large-scale eruption. So, that
It's
one,
done.
check it off. It's fine.
Now, don't.
Long Valley, not a worry.
Long Valley's fine.
Let's move on to Valles Caldera in New Mexico. The volcanic activity here is related to the tectonic movements of the intersection, the plates.
Oh, okay.
Is it active? Not really.
Okay.
So check that one off. So
Valley
Yellowstone's
Grande.
the only one on your list.
That one's fine.
Lake Taupo.
Okay.
Taupo erupted 22,600 years ago. That's not very long ago.
No.
And is the most recent super eruption on Earth with a volume of about 1,130 cubic kilometers.
Is that like Mordor?
That is.
That's how they put
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ring? The forge
So
of the ring?
that one's most recent. And since we've been talking about it, they erupt every so often. Since it was so recent, don't worry about it because it's,
Check it off your list.
it's got a lot longer until it's predicted
Okay.
eruption. Not necessarily, but it hasn't seemed to have as much activity. Now, this one, this is probably the most risky one.
Okay.
Aida, Japan. Aida. They discovered that magma is filling the magma chamber at a faster rate than the Sakurajima volcano erupts.
Okay.
So it's not letting it off.
Oh.
The reservoir is expanding each year at a volume of 14 million meters cubed and is supplied to the system. Dr. Harusa Nakamichi, associate professor at Disaster Prevention Research Institute, Kyoto University, and co-authored, it's like all these credentials.
Yeah.
Born, have 16 kids. It's already passed by 100 years since the 1914 eruption. Less than 30 years is left until a next expected big eruption.
Oh, gosh.
Kagoshima City office has prepared new evacuation plans from the Sakurajima and after experiences of evacuation of the crisis in August 2015. So this is probably one of the more active calderas, and it is a supervolcano classified volcano, which is scary.
Oh my god!
A group of scientists led by Dr. Remy used synthetic, it looked weird, aperture radar, SAR, to detect levels of inflation of the Ida caldera over the Kokuba urban district. They observed a change in the pattern of Kokuba's surface. Through a model of the deformation of the field of caldera, it is predicted there's a maximum volume increase of 203 by 106 meters cubed between 95 and 98.
Sounds like something.
They deduced an inflation of about 70 millimeters at the center of the caldera and 40 millimeters in the south urban area of Kokuba.
So it's just getting
this
bigger.
seems like it's just growing, and like I said, the Yellowstone one kind of rises and falls. This one just kind of continues to rise up. So probably the biggest risk is that one. But it's way over there. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
I don't think we have anybody from Japan listening anyway.
Doubt it.
Lake Toba, Sumatra. Karma, Sumatra. This is a scary one.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, a study revealed that the Toba supervolcano has a magma chamber containing 50,000 cubic kilometers, 12,000 cubic miles of eruptible magma. This is a massive sucker. And about 30 to 50 kilometers, that's 19 to 31 miles underground.
That's a long way.
It's a long way down. So if it ever blew up, it would blow all that off, and that is a massive amount.
Wow.
This makes the supervolcano's magma chamber more than 4 times larger than the volume of Lake Superior in North America, and also larger than the magma chamber underneath Yellowstone. This is a big sucker.
That's crazy.
But it didn't really say much about its like activity level and all that stuff. But this is a huge that one would be the end of the earth.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Siberian traps, and I don't mean the ones to catch polar bears or Ukrainians.
Or them muskels.
They didn't say much about this one. It's almost like it's a prehistoric caldera. It hasn't really done much, but they know that there was a massive one in Russia.
Right.
And those are your other risks to watch out for, but probably Lake Toba and the Ida in Japan are the two other semi-active ones, kind of like Yellowstone.
Well, I'm glad they're way over there.
Me too. I can't believe how much there is underneath that Sumatra one.
That's insane.
It's like the whole friggin', I think the core of the earth would just blow out on that one.
Yeah, it's just like the whole thing.
Well,
we're done. We used to be a planet.
The magma core just got sucked out. So, yeah, we're done now. Yep. It's like the yolk.
Yeah.
Well,
it's when you break the yolk.
We're done now.
That's it, guys. That is the Yellowstone Supervolcano Caldera Magma Chamber. Big boy.
Don't be scared of it.
Don't be scared.
Because it would be pretty much the end of you don't really want to live through that one.
Probably not. I mean, you could, depending on where you're at on the earth, but if you're anywhere in the western United States, just take a nap. Take a nap and don't wake up. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to be fun.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
But guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Tac Pack, the only monthly tactical subscription box with useful, professional grade stuff inside. Use our code Casual Preppers, and you're going to get a free $70 machine-made part by Next Level Armament. Maybe you even get some like volcano gear. We don't know.
I hope so.
We haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
Could be coming. So anyways, go check out Tac Pack, guys. They are the bomb.
It's time for the quick and dirty medical tip.
So real quick, I just wanted to talk about like pulmonary action plan, like an asthma plan. A lot of people have it or have had it in their past history as a kid, and maybe they don't have any asthma now, but you still got to kind of worry about possible attacks. And I think it's still a really good idea to have medications and things that can kind of help with asthma and reactive airways.
Yeah, see, I have a daughter who had it pretty bad when she was young, and she's kind of grown out of it. But
most do.
But I still keep some like albuterol and stuff on hand just in case, because you just don't know.
You don't.
You know?
Like if you're breathing in volcanic ash here and there, boy, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna trigger all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and if you have asthma or if you've dealt with it, there's usually those triggers. There's like viral triggers, like a cold and stuff like that's going to tighten you up. And then there's allergies. And then there's environmental, which is why I brought it up today, is like volcanic ash and dust and things like that. Very common cause of like very common reason for ER visits or asthma attacks. I mean, thousands a year. But there's kind of a plan in place. And the reason I wanted to just bring this up is you can print out a plan of action. And most of the time schools have like an action plan, or you have to sign one so that your kid can have medication. Mm-hmm. But it's good to have, because if you are unable to continue care for that child, or if some, if they get separated and they are having an asthma attack, have a paper with them or something that shows like
somebody
this is their
can read
medication. Yeah, that's easy. If my kid had really bad asthma, I would have a paper with them in their
all the
backpack
time.
of an action plan.
With their medicine, right?
With their medicine. That's the other thing is like you can get more than one inhaler a month. And you should have multiple. One in a vehicle, one at home. Because that's like, we've seen all those disaster movies. Like, where's his asthma inhaler?
Every time it seems like.
And it's like one of the worst things to not have. So having stocked up on those medications, albuterol nebulized is short right now. It's hard to get. So another thing.
Of course.
Ahead of time, you want to think ahead, because these common medications that are usually abundant, we're running out of them. And I'm hoping it'll correct, and it probably will, but you just never know. And so having an albuterol, one is having the asthma or pulmonary action plan, and then having albuterol. Inhaled steroids are usually when it becomes a little more complicated, and they're in longer term prevention. And I'm not going to go into all the details of asthma.
Yeah.
Oral steroids, you probably should have some on hand in case you can't get to the ER to treat. Mm-hmm. And then an EpiPen is also recommended for anybody that has asthma. They're more likely to have an allergic reaction and complicate the asthma. And that's something that you would give in a severe asthma attack.
And we heard about an EpiPen earlier today.
Exactly. That's why I was like, this worked out real well. Nebulizers used to be really hard to get. And you'd have to get a prescription and go to a medical supply. You can get them on Amazon. And they have handheld ones. They have some really nice supplies. So if there's any pulmonary issue in your family, have a plan, have the medications, and you can have a nebulizer device at home. There's no reason why you shouldn't. The other thing is people with COPD usually want to have some antibiotics on hand. And we've talked about that as preppers, having antibiotics in general, but COPD tends to have more chronic bronchitis and symptoms of infection, and so you want to have...
That's why that contingency med would be good to get some of that stuff, right?
Especially if you have COPD, that contingency med would be awesome. And then again, multiple inhalers. There's a lot of different types. Provider offices, like when I was in family medicine, we got a ton of different inhalers. So if your appointment, maybe hit them up, and then you at least can have them in a box stored away for emergency use. Oxygen's hard to get, and it's hard to store, to get a tank and all that. It's complicated, but if you already have a device that's like an oxygen concentrator or something like that, just make sure you have a backup power supply and things like that. So
nice.
Anyways, that's just some basic stuff on pulmonary protection and pulmonary care plan, because in an event like this, or asteroid, or where it's just going to kick up a bunch of crap or have a bunch of volcanic ash, those with pulmonary issues are going to really be at high risk. So
nice.
There you go.
That's it, guys. That is your episode for today. Yellowstone Supervolcano.
Watch out for those volcanoes.
Yep. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas and all. Appreciate you guys. And that's it. Stay survived.